Hello, and welcome to Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. I'm your host, Raaja. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This month is all about storytelling. I really wanted to take some time today and explain why storytelling is such an integral part of healing, and why it can be a powerful healing modality that you can start to incorporate into your daily practice, into your life, into ceremony even. We as humans have a long history of storytelling. History itself is storytelling. And as I discussed last week, it's all about perspective. It's all about how you perceive your world. And through the lenses that you perceive your world, you are able to paint a story with energy, with emotion, with deep meaning and wisdom and lessons that others who may not walk the same path as you can experience seemingly firsthand. I say seemingly because they didn't walk in your shoes, but through the energy of telling your story, sharing your experiences, they are able to learn those lessons too. Now, storytelling has been a part of human history since caveman. We may not have been able to communicate with words, but acting out the hunt, acting out the interaction with their environment, that's storytelling. And my dad used to teach drama. He would teach theater arts to high school and junior high students. And there were many times I would sit in his class and listen to the history of theater arts. And every single year, the very first class, he would do this interpretation of the first caveman who wanted to impress all of his friends, who had taken down the mammoth, right? So he reenacted this entire scene. And he asked the class what they just watched, because the caveman said nothing. He expressed no story. All he did was reenact with grunts and enthusiasm. And sometimes the kids understood. Sometimes the kids got it, that it was a story. Some tried to be funny with their responses, but a lot of them expressed how interesting it was, how they felt like they were really watching this caveman, like having to fight this mammoth, and they really got the feeling of suspense as he was hanging off the cliff, and I remember feeling so much pride in really understanding the expression, like really having appreciation for what my dad did and the lesson he was sharing with these kids, but also the expression that you don't need words to tell a story. You don't need words. You can tell a story through song. You can tell a story with words on a piece of paper, or you can tell a story through acting. It's profound. You can tell a story in art, in your paintings, in a calendar. There's so many different forms of storytelling. Even marketing now, in this day and age, is geared to sell people the business's story, the brand's story, the founder's story. Our hearts long to connect through stories. And shaman, in all the continents, in Siberia, in Australia, in, South America, all the continents, storytelling was always at the core of shamanic practices across the globe. I believe in Australia, they used dreams. Like when they would have dreams, they would tell the story of the dreams through interpretive dance or through reenactments, through song. And I think that that's a beautiful practice, to be able to share the energy of your dreams, the energy of your visions with another person without directly telling them. And it's so much more powerful in that way. I'm a little sick today, so I'm going to make this episode shorter. But I just want to really help you guys understand and start to look at how much of your lives are impacted by stories. I'm sure all of you out there watch television. All of you out there love movies. Every single show you watch, every movie, every play, every musical, every book you read, stories. Every TED Talk is filled with individual stories, laced together with a theme. There is so little that we all do that isn't rooted in a story. Stories make us who we are. They make us individuals, and they help us connect with each other on a deeper level, showing us that really we are all the same. That even if I didn't share your experience, I felt sadness before. I felt grief. I felt suffering. I felt loss. I felt pain. But I've also felt joy. I felt random abandon. I felt embarrassed. Stories connect us. They help us relate to humans, even to inhuman things like trees or animals, to the earth itself. Stories are a powerful, powerful modality of transfiguration, of connection, of healing, not just for yourself, but for others. When you write stories, when you tell your stories, when you share your stories in whatever medium you choose to share. I am so grateful to be able to consume and to share stories, because when I do, I know I can feel the impact. When I cry, when I gasp, when I hide my head for the character on the screen in absolute embarrassment, I connect with that character, how awkward they are, how much pain they're in, how sweet and how touching a moment can be. The connection two characters share, that love that we all long to have. Or that moment when we realize that what we thought we had wasn't really that. We all know that feeling when reality sets in and the delusion fades. Stories bring that to us. They're not just escape from reality. It's a reconnection to the people on the other side of the screen, the people telling the story. It teaches us empathy. It teaches us about the other types of life experiences that there are to have. Sometimes movies or shows make us uncomfortable. And these are moments that we can really investigate what wounds we have. Why does this show make me uncomfortable? What about the story? What about the narrative? What about this character triggers something in me? When we really look at storytelling, we look at the history of storytelling. We also, as I brought up last week, we also can look at that perspective. You know, there's always 3 or more perspectives. 3 or more. Why do I say 3? Because there's the protagonist, there's the antagonist, and then there's the witness. Right? You have the hero, the one writing the story, or in some cases, you know, the anti-hero, if they really are self-defeating in how they write their story out, right? But then you have the characters that are a part of their story. But then you always have the witness. And the witness can be the universe itself, or you, the reader, you, the watcher, that's breaking that fourth wall. And it's that dynamic. It's that dynamic that allows us to really contemplate our own story as individuals. We all are the hero of our stories. We're all, you know, playing out our story. And if I'm the hero and whoever enters my life are the other characters, you know, there might be some villains, there might be some obstacles or whatnot. But there's always a witness. And the witness is the universe. The witness is possibly God. The witness are, you know, they're my guides. My ancestors on the other side, on that 4th dimensional plane, who are observing my journey. Maybe not always able to interact with me. Maybe not ever. It's important to remember how much power we have in our lives as the storytellers of our story. How much power you have to dictate where your story ends up and what kind of a character you'll become, the type of development you'll have. I mean, I know throughout my life, I really had to look at who I wanted to become in a very hypercritical way, where I had to be harsh on myself, be really honest, brutal even, about events that I wanted to bury. I wanted to forget those things. But I can't. If I'm being responsible with who I want to become, if I'm being responsible with the type of character development I want to create for my character of Rainbow Raaja, what kind of character development is she going to go through? Am I going to make her the type of person who lays down and dies? Am I going to make her the type of person who looks at all of her struggles and, you know, just kind of goes, oh, well, I deserve it. I deserved all this. Or am I going to make her the type of character that looks back and observes her mistakes, owns those mistakes, takes credit for those mistakes, makes the apologies she needs to whomever she needs to, whether they hear her or not, and then she evolves? That's the kind of character I'm developing for myself, with the understanding that this is a book, this is a movie, this is a play. There's a famous Shakespearean quote that I'm sure a lot of you know. All the world's a stage. All the world's a stage. If Shakespeare understood that in like the 1700s, I mean, we all can get to that place too. I think it's an important place in our philosophical understanding that there's a level of power we hold over our own story and over the roles we play and over the characters we become and over the roles we want to enact or reenact or never enact at all. And I can tell you, I've changed my roles many times in this life. I've changed I've changed it from a villain. I can tell you, when I was a kid, I was definitely the villain. When I was a child, I was definitely not the sweetheart of a child that you would maybe think of me to be. I was pretty hardy. I was a pretty hardy chick, and I liked it. I liked being kind of mean. I laugh because looking back, I was a fool. Oh boy, was I a fool, because karma bit me hard. Bit me so hard for being like this little mean kid. I was such a mean little kid. It wasn't really to other people. I was just kind of like sarcastic and harsh and just in everybody's faces, and I didn't understand boundaries, and I was really mean to myself. Like, the narrative I gave myself and the way I talked to myself was really destructive. And looking back, like, even into my teens, I had a really, really self-destructive pattern and way of looking at myself. I already had thrown in the towel. But from my teens to now, over, God, I guess it's been like 15, 20 years here, I can see that I really established a sense of independence and a sense of justice and a sense of morale, and I really worked very, very hard to make up to the people that I had done wrong or hurt or, offended in any way. And for all the nasty bully names that had been given, and all the times I'd been teased and hurt and torn down, manipulated and abused, I really worked really hard to make sure those things never happened to me again. I changed my entire personality, not for other people. Don't get me wrong, I didn't do it for others. I did it for myself. And I like who I am. I love who I am. I love who I've become. It's because I understood, and I still continue to understand, that I'm just an actor on a stage. And I'm observing myself, and you all are observing me, and he is observing me, and they are observing me, those on the other side. I gotta make it a good show. I gotta show some character development. There's gotta be a bit of drama. I hope there'll be some romance, That's what everybody likes, romance, right? I work real hard. I guess where I'm going with this is really understanding that every book you've ever written, even if it's a history textbook or a memoir or a fiction or Harry Potter or whatever, even like, Pete the Cat for kids, they're all stories that we relate to. There is no story on the planet, no matter how horribly written it is, that there's going to be one person that can relate. Always. Always. Storytelling helps us connect. It helps us heal. Helps us relate and feel heard and feel validated and feel accepted. Because how could they know how I feel? But here I am, watching it, reading it, observing it. They know how I feel. I'm not alone. I'm not alone because they are experiencing it and sharing that experience with me. So I know I'm not alone. And I feel normal. I feel accepted. And I don't have to judge myself and question my experiences and realities and my reactions, because I know I'm normal because it's in that book, in that movie, in that play, in that show, in that art, whatever it may be. Start observing what shows and books and art pieces and plays and musicals you really connect to. Take notes in your journal. Take notes in your grimoire. Take notes in whatever you've got, even on your phone. When you watch something, you really feel it in your gut, whether you feel embarrassed for the character, whether you're crying out of relief or happiness, or, you're crying because this romantic scene happened and you are sad because you don't have that. Find whatever it is and start to dive deep into what that connection point is. What about that story is mirroring at you? What about that story do you relate to? Do you want? Do you long for? Do you have? Do you understand? Do you empathize with? Sit with yourself and connect to those stories and see where the parallels are in your own story, in your own life, in your own history. There might even be moments where you'll hear something in a show, you'll watch a scene in a show, and it will remind you of something someone said to you about yourself that you didn't want to accept. But that scene in that show made you realize that maybe what they said about you was true. And you didn't want to see it. You didn't want to hear it. And now you see it clearly. There's a little shame there, and that's okay. That's okay to feel that shame. It's okay. We all feel shame. We all find a moment where we go, oh no. Oh no, I'm that guy. And that's okay. It's okay to be that guy sometimes. It's part of the story. No one goes into life wanting to be the villain. No one goes into life wanting to be the villain. So that's my challenge for you guys this week or this month, is to really start to see the narratives in your life and see how they weave into your heart and into your soul and into your healing journey, and ask your guides, ask your ancestors for the parallels. Ask them to show you. Follow that intuition. If you feel like watching a show, and you're like, I don't know why, I really feel like watching this show, even if I've seen it a million times or even if I've never seen it before and the thing sounds awful and I really don't know why I want to watch it, do it anyway. I'm challenging you to do it anyway. Sit there with a journal. See what you relate to. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's like a game. It's really, really exciting. Because when you start to see all the connections of the stories, you can become a master of your own story. You can really become a master of manifestation, of writing your own path in life. Kind of like in The Never-Ending Story. Many of you have probably seen it. And if you haven't, what are you doing with your life? You need to go watch that movie now. Go watch the movie, read the book. I don't care which one. Go read it now. But, in The Never-Ending Story, it's like they were able to write their own story. They just were. And so they had control over where it went. So it's really, you can have that kind of control in your life, but you have to start to look at the parallels. You have to really observe. You have to observe even the stuff you don't want to. And that's okay. It's okay. Because we're all just human. We're all just characters in a story. And I have never read a good story where the characters don't mess up. There has to be a roller coaster of a ride, or I just won't connect. I won't connect to that character because that character won't be relatable, because nobody's perfect. Not a one. And the ones that want to be perfect, they usually have the darkest stories of them all. Most pain hiding behind that smile. The pain hiding behind all of those Instagram pictures, all the posts on Facebook of their perfect lives. There's pain there. Maybe not right now. but there was at some point in their life. And if there isn't now, I don't wish this on anyone, but I have a real good understanding of storytelling, how lives go. There will always be pain. That's the only way we grow, develop. So have gratitude for those moments in your life where you hit rock bottom, because those are the moments that have built you to who you are now. Those are the best character building moments. That's how your story really got made. You should be proud of your story. Own your story. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. I don't know you, but I know your story is worth telling. So start really investigating your story. And start realizing where maybe you're not honoring your heart's desire, or maybe you're not honoring who you truly are, the darkness and the light. Look at those movies. What kind of movies do you like? What kind of shows do you watch? What kind of characters do you relate to? It tells you a lot about who you are and the role you play in your own story. So, the challenge, go check it out. So, I'm actually going to be out of town this weekend. I know I missed putting up a healing. I'm going to do my best to put up a healing this week, but I wanted to let you guys know that I did end up having an interview with Laszlo, and I will be posting his interview this month alongside Jovanka's interview, because when I had my interview with Laszlo, we talked a lot about perspective. And I think that perspective ties in really beautifully with storytelling. I think it helps. It's a really powerful interview, and I really want to share it with you. So instead of my weekly healing for this coming Sunday, I'm going to post the interview with Laszlo, and I hope that that you guys will check in and make sure, just in case I post a healing for last Sunday, just check and take a look and see if I uploaded anything for last Sunday. And I'm going to try and keep on board with these, keep them coming on the regular days. I really apologize for not posting on last Sunday, but hopefully something will be up there soon. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. I hope you guys take some time and you check out my YouTube. My YouTube I've been trying to post weekly videos there of like healings, and I do post my interviews like live so you can actually see the faces of the interviewers. It's not live, like I post them months later because, I'm still getting the hang of all this, you guys, but thank you guys for your patience, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you tuning in and listening to me every week, doing the work. And when you guys reach out to me and you tell me that you are just really loving the topics, you really love where we go with them, with me and the interviewers, I love hearing from you. And for those of you out there that have been booking sessions, oh my gosh, I loved working with you. Thank you guys so much for working with me. I hope you guys enjoyed your recordings of your sessions. If you guys enjoyed, your tarot readings and all of your healings, I love hearing from you guys. I just want to make a shout out because I know you guys are listening. I just want to thank you guys so much for being there and supporting me, and for supporting your journey and trusting me with your healing process, because it means so much to work with you, to be a part of your journey. So thank you for your vulnerability. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye! Are you ready to ascend to the next level? This is Rainbow Raaja, your spirit guide calling. Please be sure to keep all arms and legs inside your vessel at all times. I'm just here to remind you to take some time today. Support Rainbow's Rising podcast. Go. Join the Discord community. Check out the Patreon. Get some stickers, custom tarot cards. Check out the merch. The merch. You know you want to. Go connect with Rainbow Raaja. Maybe even get a session. Who knows? Your support helps make this show possible. And she loves to support you. Help support her too. Once again, this is Rainbow Raaja, your spirit guide, guiding you to your ascension.